Hey there, this is the One Boom, and today we are returning to form, a simple gameplay commentary complaining about Black Ops Cold War. It feels good to be home. Black Ops Cold War is over 11 months old right now, and we have to ask the question, did they ever fix its biggest issues? Nope. I'm gonna go over the biggest issues I had with the alpha, beta, and launch periods of Black Ops Cold War, and let's see if they fixed it over 11 months later. Going down the list from least severe issue to most severe issue, first we have map design. While I do believe Black Ops Cold War is a better paced Call of Duty than Modern Warfare, it is also far less interesting. Most of the good flow comes from the traditional minimap and suppressor system we're all used to, and the crutch perk that is Ninja. The maps being more simplistic helps, but that's not really the main factor. The maps being simplistic is a big reason why a lot of people, and this might be a silent minority, but I've definitely heard them, they complain that Cold War is actually too campy. While Modern Warfare is a much more methodical, campier game than Cold War has a different kind of camping. Cold War has the same problem as Modern Warfare with its Team Deathmatch mode. I made a video a while back saying, if Team Deathmatch doesn't work, then the game has a fundamental flaw. So that's my issue with Modern Warfare 2019. I don't think Modern Warfare 2019 is an overly campy game because I played Domination and Hardpoint and Cyber Attack and Cyber Attack Pro. I played game modes that got the blood pumping, and I really had fast-paced, sweaty games with my friends in there, and it was a lot of fun. But if Team Deathmatch doesn't work, you have a fundamental flaw. MW's fundamental Team Deathmatch flaw, in my opinion, did not come from the maps. It came from the lack of a Dead Silence perk. It came from the way the suppressor and minimap was handled. It came from having claymores as the first unlock and shrapnel allowing you to have 2 of them and restock allowing you to get more. My assessment of Modern Warfare 2019 is that the maps would allow for enough camping if they wanted to, but the mechanics is what gave it a camping issue. Whereas Modern Warfare 2 and Call of Duty 4 allowed for the variety of playstyles that would allow for camping and more methodical, snipery, rat-like playstyles, Modern Warfare 2019 really promoted those playstyles through its mechanics. Not a good mix. Cold War doesn't have that issue. Its map design feels campy in non-objective game modes because nobody wants to go anywhere. There's no power position to hold. Everything is symmetrical, out in the open, uninteresting. There's no fun combat puzzles. Like, a really good example is this map. I believe it's called Apocalypse. Mostly on this map, I'm fighting for symmetrical cover or a tiny window. Meanwhile, when playing MW 2019, one of the first maps they added was Crash, a map dedicated to combat puzzles. It's a map about owning all of the buildings. It always has been, and I always enjoy doing it because these buildings are interesting to hold. They all have multiple exit and entry points, they all have their advantages and disadvantages, and it makes for an interesting bit of gameplay, at least in my opinion. But hell, even maps like Piccadilly in Modern Warfare 2019 have the clothing store, a completely asymmetrical power position that people want to play over, that's incredibly easy to get explosives and killstreaks to pour in through the window. Players in top clothing can either sit in a corner and wait for you to come up, which is not that good of a strategy for long-term success because eventually you will be ratted out, or you have to sort of expose yourself in the giant open-face window. So there's a little bit of a combat puzzle going on Piccadilly, on maps like Crash. Sawmill and Hideout are similar. They have these areas that you want to play for, and they are interesting because of all of the exits and entry points, so you have to be, pretty vigilant in Modern Warfare. And I think they play really, really well alongside objective game modes. In Team Deathmatch, because of the mechanics of Modern Warfare 2019, these maps sometimes could become a campy hellscape of completely entrenched teams. But again, Cold War, in my opinion, almost has a worse camping problem. It's not really camping, it's just nobody has anywhere they want to go. Everything's symmetrical, everything is linear, everything is predictable, there's nothing interesting to fight for, there's nothing to get your blood pumping in the moment. And on top of this sort of boring cookie-cutter map design that doesn't really challenge the player on either side of the power position, we have the score streak system. This is the next problem that they never fixed. Oh geez, I hope this script isn't coming across as whiny. In MW 2019, I can still get my blood pressure up by camping because if I'm getting really close to a streak, the stakes get higher. That's what the Killstreaks system does in Call of Duty. When it resets entirely when you die and you lose all your progress, it makes those deaths very, very significant. And when you see that you got a buzzkill on somebody, you know that if they've been alive for a while, that's a pretty significant kill you just got. The kill streak system in Call of Duty sets the stakes, and it cements the skill gap of Call of Duty. In Call of Duty Public Match, the skill doesn't come from getting a kill. It comes from getting 8 to 10 to 12 to 13 without dying. It comes from staying alive, locking down the map, and then getting kill streaks to further help you lock down the map. That is the main motivation in Call of Duty. Some people think kill streaks in Call of Duty are cheesy, like they're free toys you're supposed to play with, but in a game where you can die in 190 milliseconds or less, no. If I stay alive for 8 kills, even if I'm camping, if you didn't take me out, I can shift the balance of power with whatever I earned. So, in Cold War, if somebody's camping for a streak and you kill them when they're 1 off of it, all they gotta do is respawn, play the objective a bit, get a couple more kills, and bada bing bada boom, they'll have the streak. The streaks do not reset when you die, therefore the stakes and the satisfaction are removed from the game, in my opinion, almost entirely. It also creates a practical issue where around 75% through the match, streaks start getting called in and rained down, because by that time everybody's accumulated enough score to do so. If you're fighting half-decent opponents, you're likely eventually going to have to deal with a war machine. You're eventually going to have to deal with a hand cannon or a napalm strike on the B flag. You're going to have to eventually deal with that, even if you're stomping them off of their streak. They'll eventually get it because score is accumulated by almost everything you do in the game. So you have maps completely devoid of interesting combat puzzles and fun asymmetrical power positions that the entire game wants control of. You remove the stakes of getting killed off your streak, or the satisfaction of knocking someone off their streak. Then you combine some smaller, lesser issues like boring weapon customization, or the fact that so many of the post-launch maps are just directly ripped from Black Ops 2, aesthetic and all, and you have yourself a really boring Call of Duty game. Now, I don't mean you have a poorly paced or slow Call of Duty game, but you do have a boring one. I prefer variety, intrigue, combat puzzles over fast-paced, boring combat any day. And this is the last issue that they still haven't been able to fix because it was a part of the broken foundation that Cold War had from the beginning. The problems I just laid out describe a boring Call of Duty game. And boredom is somewhat subjective when talking about video games. What I find boring, you might find more interesting. Okay. The biggest issue in Cold War, in my opinion, though, isn't really subjective. It is the gunplay. It is the entire nature of this game's gunplay, and you can hear me out, or you can click away now. But the developers of this game had zero interest in balancing the weapons. Zero interest. It is embarrassing that 11 months down the line, this issue still persists, and I pointed it out from the alpha. If you have a Call of Duty game with a longer time to kill and zero flinch, you will have a DPS meta. That was my prediction, and it still rings absolutely true. What I couldn't predict, however, is how incompetent Treyarch would be, or how devious Treyarch would be, in adding so many weapons into this game and tweaking so many weapons in this game to just destroy the nature of the close-range gunfight. 410, Gallo, Hauer, Street Sweeper, Marshals, dual-wield Diamatis, M1911s, or Magnums. These are the things that keep me up at night, because I don't know how they make it past QA, if there is any QA at Treyarch anyway. Then you have tomahawks, crossbow, ballistic knife, okay, those can all be very powerful. Snipers that are pretty damn easy to quickscope with in close range. Alright. And my personal favorite to abuse, the tactical rifles, such as the M16.
Oh no!
Throughout the life cycle of Cold War, I have been told by so many people that the longer time to kill promotes skill-based gunplay, but I'm here to tell you that Cold War does not have a longer time to kill. Maybe an XM4 at mid to long range, maybe a QBZ at mid to long range. That might be more skill-based than your average Call of Duty game. Oh, okay, sure, I'll give you that one. Somebody trying to line up shots with an AK-74U or MP5 at mid-range. Okay, that might be pretty skill-based. It requires a couple more consecutive shots than, let's say, the MW 2019 MP5. Okay. The problem is none of that matters to me. The problem is when I round a corner and get killed by dual-wield revolvers before I can react, when I get blown away by a Gallo or a Street Sweeper, when I get hit by the new 410 Ironhide. As a competition, I can't take the gunplay seriously, and I find myself enjoying hardcore mode way more because at least I can just use whatever I want, and I don't feel like I need to pull out dual-wield Diamates in close range to have success. Like, yeah, Halo has a longer time to kill than other shooters, but I wouldn't say that it does if you spawned in with the shotgun as your secondary whenever you wanted to. If you're playing snipers or sniper shotties in Halo, the time to kill isn't long anymore. It's only long if you're missing. But Cold War is absolutely full of weapons that immediately delete you off the map while you're trying to land consecutive shots. Getting the XM4 Gold was a nightmare. The XM4 is a good gun in Cold War, I like it a lot. But anytime I was in close range against a shotgun, anytime I was at mid to long range against an M16 or an SKS or an AUG, I just didn't want to play anymore. Treyarch gave versatile assault rifles like the XM4 a longer time to kill relative to other Call of Duty games, while still letting snipers one-shot me in the chest. Treyarch wanted the XM4 to be a bit slower than something like the Modern Warfare 2019 M4A1. Fair enough, until I get into close quarters and a Gallo blows me away with 0 skill required. When somebody comes in with Marshall pistols or dual-wield Diamates or 1911s and I'm just deleted off the map, unable to fight back. When I round a corner and somebody's head glitching with a crossbow and they take me out before I can land my second shot. When I can't flinch people that are using higher damage weapons like LMGs or these really strong tac rifles that I can't stop abusing when I play core mode, it just makes me feel like something's missing, fundamentally missing from this game. And I think it's a lead designer with a good QA team, because all you would have had to do, Treyarch, was stand one person with an M16 at a head glitch and an XM4 user at a head glitch and say, okay, in a controlled test environment, have the XM4 guy start shooting the M16 guy, see what happens. What's gonna happen, especially if the M16 guy has the right attachments, he's going to take very little flinch and delete the XM4 user before the XM4 user can land their third or fourth shot. Flinch is a lot like the minimap in Call of Duty. It's your best friend and your worst enemy. It gets you spotted and it helps you spot. It helps you win gunfights, but it also can make you lose a gunfight. Map design is subjective. The score streak system could have been fixed, but the main fundamental issue I noticed was with the moment-to-moment gunplay. And this issue still persists into the game today. I've played this game half of the year on PC and half of the year on Xbox. Whether using controller or mouse, the issue that I had persisted throughout the entire life cycle of the game. Shoot first, die first. And like I said at the beginning of this game, the meta will be move as fast as possible and use whatever kills as fast as possible if you want success. Because if somebody's using one of those mid-tier weapons like a QBZ, and they're not able to land all of their shots, if they're not able to land headshots, you with an M16, you with a shotgun in close range, you with dual-wield magnums, you're gonna just decimate them. Don't get good at the game, get good at abusing the game. And you might say, okay, boom, Call of Duties have had this issue forever, and like I said when this game first came out, these aren't exactly new issues on paper. They're just exacerbated. On top of boring map designs and a really crappy score streak system, Cold War never fixed its biggest issues. Cold War never became a better Call of Duty game. And on top of that, on the graphical, detail, and authenticity side, it was a massive downgrade for Modern Warfare. Modern Warfare felt so down to earth, so detailed, and just such a big graphical step up over previous Call of Duty games that going to Cold War felt like a huge downgrade. I still think I can have some fun in Cold War. I still think Cold War is worth keeping installed on my Xbox for zombies, prop hunt, and hardcore mode. There are some fun maps that play pretty well, and there are still some weapons I enjoy using. Like any Call of Duty game, I can have some fun in it, and I do think it's better than Black Ops 4 and COD World War II to some degree. But these fundamental issues plagued the entire life cycle of the game for me, and I thought I'd let you guys know I'm still a bitch 11 months later. Oh my god, who would have guessed? See you when I see you. Goodbye.